What's up, everybody? Sorry about the late start tonight. I don't really know what the issue was, but then it just fixed itself, so that's good. How's everybody doing? You guys good? Cool thing that happened this week. I was headed down to Vision Quest anyway, and then they asked me to do a little speaking engagement while I'm down there, which is really a huge honor for me. So if you are headed to Vision Quest, I'm going to be doing a little talk about team building and just being business minded, all that good stuff. So hopefully you guys are able to come down there. So we got 3 films tonight we're going to be looking at, which I'm excited about because I really like some of you guys you've submitted before, but some of you guys have not submitted before, so that's really cool. You know, before we get into it, how's everybody's wedding season going? You guys surviving this grind? I was telling somebody I am barely surviving, but I'm starting to see the end of the tunnel on all this madness. And let me see. I'm going to look at right now. How many weddings do we have this weekend? Let's see. We have, this is not the right week. We have 1 today, 3 tomorrow. So that's 4 for those that count. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, and then we have 10, 11, 12 weddings from here to Sunday. So, yeah, I'm feeling this grind in a heavy way, but I'm also feeling like, I don't know how you guys have been, but like for me, getting through this year, it's kind of going to be one of my like greatest accomplishments as a wedding filmmaker. I'm going to look at this and really feel like, what a cool thing we were able to do. Like A, not go out of business, right? But also B, come back stronger than ever. So that's my story, and that's how I'm feeling these days. Hopefully you're feeling good. Wedding filmmaking is a grind. Even if you're not doing 13 weddings, if you're doing 1 every weekend, that's still a lot. So the first film we're going to watch tonight is by Grant Fitzgerald Films. A member, if you would like to become a member, just go down. There's a join button down there. And go ahead and join. It's cheap. You know, again, we keep saying this. I promise you guys, November, the channel is going to be picking up in a big way. We have 3 more BTSs we're editing, a couple product things we're editing. We got some tutorials we're editing right now. Some big news coming in the future. November to March for Wedding Film School is going to be huge. It's a little tough to get to all that stuff. And we want it to be good. That's the key, is like we want the stuff that we're releasing on the channel to be of a certain quality. We don't want to rush stuff out the door. And one of the things that's also going to be improving is membership. We're going to be tweaking that program from November to December to add a lot more value. So I would say get on now before the price goes up, because the price is probably going to be going up. And for those of you that are members, currently you're getting access to a couple of different things. One of them being preferences on our film critiques. So here's a link, as always. Fitzgerald Films. Very good filmmaker, by the way. That, by the way, Hemlock Ricky, that actually probably makes sense. That number seems correct to me. So, yeah, I mean, but I will say this. I think it is possible to survive, because the competition is often, and for those that can't see the live chat, Hemlock Ricky said, Michigan's average spend is apparently only $1,100. Keep in mind that the average in that number for a wedding film is including people that are spending much less. So keep that in mind. It also is, so I would say don't be discouraged. I guarantee you can easily get double that if you are any good in the wedding filmmaking world. So I would encourage you, don't be discouraged. But anyway, Fitzgerald Films, and here we go. He said this is filmed on a Canon 80D, shot and edited for a company I associate and shoot and edit for. First day using my drone, struggled with the photographer throughout the day. We had different ideas of where we'd like to do prep shots. Yep, that happens. I've worked with her many times since then, and I have worked at speaking up for myself, and we work together rather well now. It's probably the thing I've learned the most this summer is how to get the shots I want and how to communicate. So I love that. So I'm assuming this is pre-confident Grant. And so we'll see how it affects the film. I'd love in the future if you could submit something where you're like, I did everything I wanted in this film and I got what I wanted. Because I feel like it's always good to see people's development and growth. I don't know about you guys. I find that to be super, super encouraging. Is watching how when people develop and grow. So yeah, I love to see people's progress. So tell me if this is the film right here, Grant. Tell me if I got this right. Anyway, I believe this is the correct film. So here we go.
A message from Mom and Dad. Our heartfelt congratulations to your wedding today. You are no longer Jane and Richard, but Dr. and Mrs. Richard Campbell. The vows you took moments ago before God and man made you one instead of two. As parents, we would love to be present, but due to the pandemic, the embassy in the Gambia suspended issue.
Just really quick, while I'm thinking about it, is this a Zoom recording, or let people in the know chat where this recording? I'm assuming this is his father, remote or something like that. So,
of all tourists and visitors visa indefinitely.
I wish you were here. Love you. Bye.
This in any way did not affect our focus to make you the day that turns out to be a memorable day in your life. As we speak, our hearts are with you guys, celebrating in our own way with relatives and friends.
We are here today.
What a that huge guy singing, "Oh my God." I like that. That's awesome.
As love has gathered us together. Love is a miraculous gift, and a wedding is a celebration of that gift. We come here today to celebrate this gift of love and add our best wishes and blessings to the words that shall unite Richard and Jane in the bonds of marriage. On this day, Richard Campbell and Jane Swanson will pledge their lives as one and commit themselves to each other forever in marriage.
I take you, Jane, to be my wife, loving you now and in your growing and becoming. I will love you when we're together
and when we are apart. I say these things believing that God is in the midst of them all.
So I want to look at one thing that I'm seeing throughout the film while we're watching it. And so I'm curious what cameras, if you used, if what you used here, and because I feel like the skin tones from this shot to this shot are pretty different, and it could just be the way it was white balanced. But I will tell you, in terms of vibe, if you look at her face right here and her shoulder versus right here, I feel like you're bouncing, like the skin tones here are green.
I say these things believing that God is in the midst of them.
They're magenta here, and then they're correct here. Even though, and her skin she is a more flush person, so the pink in her face is going to pop out. But I just feel like something, maybe throughout the film, your white balance is a little all over the place. And it just, if you don't nail it the day of, which happens, I might work in post to kind of bring your shots a little closer together to a singular treatment of skin so that people's skin tones aren't. That's honestly the biggest thing, is things can change to the best of your ability if lighting conditions, like if it's sunny, you want your skin to look pretty consistent throughout the film, and I'm noticing some variation there.
According to African tradition, the parents of the bridegroom give away a son, Richard, and receives a daughter, Jane. Whilst the parents of the bride give away a daughter, Jane, and receives a son, Richard, we are eagerly awaiting to receive you, Jane. Also, as part of our culture, this marriage is not only between Jane and Richard, but between the two families.
It's with great joy that I pronounce you husband and wife. Friends and family, I'd like to introduce to you for the very first time, Dr. and Mrs. Richard Campbell. Richard, would you like to kiss your bride?
So you get some audio peeking out pretty bad there. Yeah, okay, so you have two different you have a Panasonic and a Canon. Okay, let's see if I can do this game really quick. I'm going to do what is Panasonic and what is Canon. Will I get this right? Okay, I'm not going to try to do that. Yeah. Let me see if I notice it. So that looks like... So I'm assuming that... Is it SL2 like your... Both Canon and SL2? What is an SL2? Is that a... Anyway. You stumped me. That's a camera body I have not used. Canon SL2. And now I'm going to be looking it up. Oh, that's like a entry level. Okay. So that's why your color's falling apart throughout the film. Is that camera. The 60D should look, that 80D should look pretty solid, but that other camera is crunchy. So I would say, yeah, pump that one.
We are eagerly awaiting to receive you, Jane. Also, as part of our culture, this marriage is not only between Jane and Richard, but between the two families.
It's with great joy that I pronounce you husband and wife. Friends and family, I'd like to introduce to you for the very first time, Dr.
It's a little overexposed on that one area, but this is a vibey shot. I'm into this shot. I'm going to delete my face from this so you guys can see more of the frame. One of the things I like about it is that motion you're getting from the trees. It just immediately drew my attention. You know, I wonder if you would have wanted to see
Friends
it
and family.
Exposed a little down so that top left corner was down. But at the end of the day, like the frame could be a little more centered. I'm not going to lie. But the choice to take that moment, the nice moment, they're holding hands, but also allowing that tree to move around and all this stuff, I think that's a good choice. It looks really nice. So, good job.
Dr. and Mrs. Richard Campbell. Richard, would you like to kiss your bride?
Peeking out there, though. I wonder where that was peeking out. Was that peeking out at the board or peeking out on the recording? So that's the thing to look at.
You're the best big sister that I could have ever hoped to have. You're such a role model to me. You have one of the biggest hearts.
Okay, that he brought up an interesting point, and if you've never worked with people with very different skin tones, here's my advice. My advice is expose for the lighter skin toned person, or white balance for them, because their skin is going to pop a lot more unflattering reds and greens. And if you do that and just keep it in mind that obviously this other person, you need to look and make sure their skin tones look natural too. you'll usually be fine. Especially if one person is very, very, very fair skin like she does. That would be my advice there. So
that I know.
I was so fortunate to hold Jane as a baby. And now, Richard, you will hold her for the rest of your life.
We're certainly grown. From the boys that we were back in Gambia to the grown men that we are today, I can honestly say I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the man that you've become. And I know your mom, your dad, Donald, Vicky, and the kids are all proud of you as well. I know they're really proud that you found Jane in your life.
We've gathered here today in support of Jane and Richard, and because we want the very best for them. And yet, there's no one here who's more interested in this marriage than God, our Creator, the one who gives us breath, who numbers every hair of our head, and whose thoughts towards each.
Gotta bring this heat earlier, man. Gotta bring this fire to the film earlier. It looks good, although the skin tones are a little greenish to me. But at the end of the day, I think the shots are nice and the vibe is good.
Us are greater than the sand of the sea. So Jane and Richard, today you vowed to be accountable and faithful to each other. So my love and best wishes to you both, and welcome to our family.
Nice. Okay, so there's a lot of good. I feel like there's more good shots in there that just didn't make the film. Maybe because you're trying to be chronological, whatever. So let's talk about some of the stuff I like. Things I like. Overall, the camera work is very good. You know, I felt like you had a very strong understanding of what you're trying to do. Some of the exposures were a little off, but that can happen to the. I mean, that right there. Man, what a terrible time. I mean, so I shot a wedding, full disclosure, last Friday. Very, very good wedding. Super, super nice venue. Everything was set up to be successful. Gets to the ceremony time. The ceremony's in the shadows. Meanwhile, the building, which they think looks amazing, is not in the shadows at all. And it's literally just a glowing white overexposed blob. And I had to figure out what to do. So I know there are conditions where you cannot nail. I would not use this shot in my highlight film right here. It just looks, the woman is totally blown out. But I do realize it's tricky. So I'm not necessarily criticizing your exposure, because it doesn't really matter if that lady is exposed properly, because you're exposing for the stage. I will say I am going to criticize your framing here, because once he gets up there, I think it's far too much lead room. I feel like the couple should be a little more centered. But overall, I think you did a lot of stuff really well. There's very few. The skin tones do shift throughout the film, and that I don't love. Sometimes people are green, sometimes they're red. You know, sometimes they look correct. The things I'm going to give you some critique on that I think you can improve on is, first of all, the pacing of the film. I feel like the whole thing is kind of dragging, and it could be because of the song. I don't like these generic, stock-sounding songs. I feel like you got to bring something that has a little more personality to it, and it's just kind of a lame song. I don't like it. But also the pacing of the film, it could be that the song just drives it. A 4-minute film should have good energy, and I felt like it was a little low energy. And the couple was very sweet. I feel like you should have leaned into that. They were very sweet, and the guy was so nice. I mean, look how sensitive he is. Look at him right there. And I think you did a good job capturing that, by the way. The other thing I'd say from a story standpoint is I can understand including some of that dialogue, but I feel like you had a little too much dialogue, especially at the beginning, where, at the beginning where that guy was talking, and I was like, is that his dad? And you didn't show them either, which is also a little confusing. And then he just kind of like talked forever, and it was like, and the embassy was closed. It was like, you could have trimmed that down and just kind of get to the meat of what he's saying if you really feel that that is important. I don't really think it was that important. It certainly didn't make it feel more emotional to me. I do know that that was the letter that the parent wrote, though, so I can see why you had to include some of it. But the fact that the dad didn't read it, here's a good idea. And I know you shot this for someone else, so you're not going to bother. If I was shooting this and it was like something I was investing in, I would probably try to get a hold of that dad and have him read it and surprise the couple. Put it in the film. Have the real dad read it. That's an idea. You could do that. Anyway, the other things I noticed are just like that is just lit. Not at all. It looks like I can see one light. It seems it's not lit well. I feel like you gotta get a brighter light or something. Did you have lights? Just let me know in the comments if you had lights. But I feel like giving these people a little pop. I think it would help your films a lot, like a lot. And yeah, that's something I really think throughout the film, like that looks super bad. And it could look super good. Is if you just hit these people with some light. But anyway, I didn't really super notice the criticisms that you brought in terms of like the problems you were having. I felt like the portrait sessions all seemed pretty good. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I feel like the getting ready looked pretty solid. I feel like the things I didn't like, or I didn't like the way you're really anything about the way that the people giving their speeches looked. It looked weird. Even the framing was weird, and they seemed a little rushed. And then again, like I said, your white, like those, this is very, very blue. This should be warmer. Like a lot of the way if you can see it in his shirt, it's a little under, but also it's a little blue. And I can see there's a lot of like that's blue, like a lot of your, white balance is skewing blue throughout the film, and you really need to kind of tick it up a little bit. I mean, it could be a stylistic choice. If so, it's one I don't agree with. But I think it's a very good film. I think your dance stuff also you got to get more intentional with how you're covering that dance floor. Like, give it something that is your vibe. Push it a little harder. I've noticed this, actually. For Jared and I Ain't Stop Go Love, dance floor is really important to our films. Like, we put a lot of effort into that 30 minutes we take covering the dance floor to get a ton of focal lengths. We'll move our lights. We will get in there. We really, really work to get that dance floor. Yeah, I would just say those LED panels, get them out the door. Get yourself a Fresnel. A Nan light is a great light. Obviously, I recommend the Aperture 60X. Practilite is great. There's a lot of great options, but get yourself a Fresnel. It will change your films. Bottom line. But yeah, I would say get in there with these dance floor scenes. Really, really get in there and like get yourself some flair. Trust me, you won't regret it. So, even the core, yeah, like I don't love the torches. To me, they're kind of sucky, actually. You know what I don't like about the torch lights? Everybody loves them. They are cheap and they are reliable, and we do own some. What I don't like about the torch lights is the way they flare. When you shoot directly in a torch light, you get all these little dots. And I just, dude, dance floor is the dopest part. Dance floor is the dopest part of the day. Trust me, portraits are great. Dance floor is a blast. You can get so much good stuff out of a dance floor if you are willing to figure it out and actually put the work in. I cannot tell you enough how much I think most people are like, meh, they don't know what to do. And if you get in there and you actually start trying to get flares and you're just getting if you put the work in, I think the dance floor can be just special. I want to show you guys a film later that we just did with some awesome dance floor. So great job. Like I said, those are things you can work on. If you do that, I think these films would be a lot better and much more elevated. And you got to invest in your gear. And I know that that's like, it's not just about gear, but I think for you as a filmmaker, you're ready to invest and kind of level up a little bit. And don't let that gear be the limitation. Lighting is important. it's more important even than your camera bodies, in my opinion. So good job. Appreciate you submitting as always. Hopefully that was helpful. But there, like the posing and stuff was right on. There's a lot of really good stuff you did in that film, guys. If you're watching this and you're enjoying it, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Wedding Film School. We're one of the premier channels. We used to have Craig Adams. It can't be bad. So come on, join the channel. We want to see you guys on here. So the next film is, and I will share it in there. This is a new submitter, I believe, Ronaldus Ruskis. So he doesn't have a website yet. He's kind of new. It's Epidemic Sound. This is what I love. My first wedding film ever. Don't judge me too much from preparation to first dance. First things first, bride's prep. Was late. Okay, not good start. He says, was late to film the bride's prep. I'm not going to lie. This is something in 10 years of wedding filmmaking I've never done. I've never been late. So, as bride wasn't ready as planned. Sorry. Stayed in bride's house so long as I can, then rushed to groom prep. Unfortunately, I was told that the bride's house was to hotel where groom was is around 50-minute drive, so I added an extra. I kept 30 minutes for groom prep, and after that, jumped in the car. Sat nav showed me 100 hours to drive to destination. 5 minutes. Okay, so we're not here to review that. If I could give you I'll give you a different critique. Let's do if you were one of my employees and you said, hey man, they want me to do groom prep. This is the situation. I would say, oh, you can't. No, you can't do it. I won't do groom prep unless they're in the same building. Facts. If not, they have to pay for a second shooter. I also would tell them, oh no, we're not driving 50 minutes. We're not doing it. So, I get that you're a first wedding film and you're just trying to make it happen. And if you made it happen at all, you did them a favor. But like me personally, I wouldn't do any of that. That's a nightmare. What you just did is a nightmare. So if you're watching this, yeah, sorry about that. I'm on this dumb table. I have this stand. We're in the middle of building a new studio right now, and it's just such a joy. And so everything in our studio is a mess, and this thing keeps bouncing. I apologize. But yeah, I would just say, do not do it. Shutterstock Media, head over to weddingfilm.school and you can submit on the website. So that's your first mistake. And so, you're new, so that's cool. I get it, but you should not have done that. No one could have pulled that. Even a great shooter. Yeah. Anyway, it says, not much B-roll, not much slow motion. I had time to ask a few questions. Interview the bride. Okay, interesting. But did not have time to ask the groom. It is what it is. So what they purchased, let's see what they got. So I wonder if he got paid for this too. I don't know if he told me. I asked if I could do wedding video, accepted. So he tried to pay me, but I did not accept any money. So, okay. They were looking for a 3-minute highlight film. So first of all, thank you so much for submitting. It does not matter to me if this is a good film. The fact that you submitted the film is good. And you're on the right track. So you guys ready? Let's watch somebody's first film. Let's be encouraging to them, but also let's give them some good feedback.
I just want him to know that no matter what, I'll always love him. I will always be here for him. I will support him throughout thick and thin. And I don't want him to feel nervous today, definitely not, because I'm excited. I am nervous, but I hope he's not nervous. I mean, we've been together for 18 years, and we've just...
You're a liar. This is good for your first film. So, looking good so far. Oh, is this not the right one? Did I put the wrong one up? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. It looks pretty good. I'll start over. My bad. That was just me watching it. Normally I have like somebody helping me do this studio as well, and I don't. So what a blast. Here it is again.
I just want him to know that no matter what, I'll always love him. I will always be here for him. I will support him throughout thick and thin. And I don't want him to feel nervous today, definitely not, because I'm excited, I am nervous, but I hope he's not nervous. I mean, we've been together for 18 years, and we've just the rest of our lives, and that's it. I just adore him, absolutely.
We're in this together now. Give me your love.
Dear children of God, you have come here to this church so that the Lord may see your love in the presence of the priest and your family and friends, Charlene and Darius. Have you come here of your own?
That girl's dress is amazing, by the way. I'm super into that dress and the hair and everything. Sorry. If you're a wedding filmmaker, I'm always commenting on like, oh, what a cool dress. So I like the vibe so far.
Free will and choice and without compulsion to marry each other.
Yeah.
What God joins together, man must not separate. May the Lord confirm the consent that you have given and enrich you with his love. Lord, bless Charlene and Darius.
Have some post zoom, post stabilization right back there. Lots of that right here. A lot of post stabilization. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks to me right here that you just got a lot of that warble.
Charlene and Darius.
Amen.
I'm saying, man, it's for him.
Okay.
Relax.
Cause we're in this together now. You and me together.
I want to start by thanking everyone for coming. I asked Donna how my mum and dad first met, and she said they were young and good looking, but most of all, they couldn't understand the word each other said.
Yes. That is awesome. That kid is funny.
Give me your love and tell me your secrets. Cause we're in this together now. Yeah, we're in this together now.
I don't want to get sloppy because you know for a fact my mum will cry, and that'll start me off, and we don't want to ruin that beautiful makeup. Marcy worked so hard on me this morning. On a serious note, this is a very special day for the four of us. We already are the happiest family, and me and Ella are so grateful for everything you do for us. I'm so proud that my mum is now an official Sudlowskis, with just enough tiger left over to keep us all in check. Could everyone raise a glass for my mum and dad?
What a great speech. I just want to give you a heads up that you don't get speeches like that normally, so you better make a good film. But as a first budding film, you normally are getting, remember that time we were in college and then we went partying and then I said, you're never going to get married, but now you're married? That was crazy. This is much better. That was awesome. Super funny. Good use too. You did a good job.
I'd like to welcome Darius into the Tiger family. And I mean, I met Darius, what, 10, 15 years ago in the Anchor. A lovely place. So I thought to myself, oh, good looking guy, like, you know, so Charlene, that's right. But eventually, been in our family now about 10 years, and a really good guy, like, and good worker, really nice.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some advice here. I would not include this meandering speech. I would include some parts of it, but I would try to tighten it up. This guy's running out of gas here. He just really ended with a big sigh and said, "Really nice fella." Like, so I would say, like, you don't need to include all of a speech. Like, trying to make it feel like it's got good pacing and, you know, and like the person's making a coherent statement, I think is important. You don't need to include it all. The other kid, it was tight. It was really good. It was snappy. It made a lot of sense. I don't know what this guy's talking about. And you don't have to have it all. You don't need to feel that pressure. You can just include some to make them feel good, but not like, you don't need to include all this.
But he can't drive a fucking car.
Darn it. Spoke too soon. Spoke too soon. Dang, these Irish people are funny.
Darius, thank you to be such a great friend and even better brother. Charlene, I think we can all agree that you are stunning tonight.
So, I was wondering if you had a long lens. It looks like you do. And I would say this. Next time you do a wedding, this lens right here, put it on the person speaking. And this lens right here, put it pretty close and put it on the couple. But in my opinion, the people speaking are too far and too zoomed out. And I think it would help with the emotion and capturing them if they were a little closer.
And Darius, you look all right. Darius, I have to say how lucky you are. You will leave here today with a wife who's warm, loving, and caring. And Charlene, how lucky you are as well. You will leave here today having lovely dress and a big bunch of flowers. So congratulations on the big step in your lives. Let's all raise the glasses. Toast to the happy couple. May years, happiness, and amazing memories
Ooh,
await yours. Cheers.
It's a dope cake.
Cause we're in this together now. You and me together now. What's the point of living if we're scared to lose each other? What's the point of living without you?
I'm going to finish this speech just thanking everyone involved in making this day special and happen. Especially my beautiful wife, Charlene. I'm lucky man.
You are lucky man.
But the best looking girl in the house today is our Viella. Hope you all enjoy this evening.
What a delightful couple. Can we just all agree? What didn't we enjoy our time with them? So funny. And really super good for your first wedding film. I just people in the chat, let him know how well he did. I'm assuming it's a he. I shouldn't do that. Ronaldus Rusk. I think that seems like a boy's name. So, great film. Really, really good. There's a lot to like here. I mean, clearly you know how to shoot, for starters. The audio is pretty thoughtfully done. I could tell that you mic'd the bride during the speech. Maybe I wouldn't have done exactly that, but like, even if I wouldn't have done that, the things that I'm noticing throughout the film are like, this is not a person who's just roaming in there and like not knowing what they're doing. This is a person who took a lot of thought and care, and I'm really, 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 I'm just pretty the sophistication of knowing when those funny moments are and just including it in the right way and just kind of like really letting the couple's personality shine through. I was listening to someone today and they're talking about the difference between, they say people talk about plot, and they're talking about the difference between plot and story. But then they said, really, what matters about storytelling is actually people don't remember plots, but they remember characters. And they're saying to make memorable storytelling is all about creating a character. And in wedding filmmaking, it's all about the couple, but of course the people involved, the property. And I think like the better you get at filmmaking, the more you can do more with less. And I think that's really what it is about. This couple is kind of a layup. I'm not going to lie. You did it, but you did a great job with them and highlighting their personalities and the people around them. I just felt like the people in the film were memorable, much more so than the film itself. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I think you didn't get in the way of your own film. And I love that. Some basic critiques I'm going to give you are, I think you had a gimbal. And I would have liked to seen it a little bit more throughout the day, especially during portraits. But also I would tell you some of these like static shots like this, we're just kind of standing there. Like you're kind of doing nothing. And, you know, they can be like this shot right here. If you were doing a push in or like pulling out with a gimbal, it would be much, much nicer. A very small movement, like 2 feet of movement would really affect the film. And I would just say, you know, maybe you have your reasons, but a little bit more of that throughout the film, I think would elevate it. And I think we all know like the big issue here. Well, first of all, I think the way you covered your speeches showed inexperience. I think people talking, you want to get in there on their faces, show that drama. And I felt like there was a lot of inclusion of shots that were just like, we call these shots safety shots. Like, to me, this shot is not a shot I would include in my films. I wouldn't frame it this way either, but I also think this is not a shot I want in my films. I would include my tight shot of the person talking because I would want to motivate. I would want to see their face. I would want to see the smiles and all that stuff. And you have a hard time connecting with people when they're really far away. There's that. Second of all is I look at this cake and I'm like, I would have shot the crap out of that cake. I would have shot this cake is cool. I would have got B-roll of this cake. Like you said, there's not a lot of B-roll. I get it too. I think you made the right choice. The choices you made in terms of like, oh, I don't have time to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm going to focus on the people. That's the right call. As you get more experience, you will find that you won't make some of those mistakes you made that maybe cost you time, and you'll have time to capture stuff like this awesome black cake. But I will say it needs more B-roll throughout the film. And I think the way you shoot your B-roll, it shows a little lack of intentionality. I think as you do it more, you'll start to figure out what your voice is. Keep doing it. That's the best advice I'll give you, the B-roll. Just keep shooting B-roll of details and tables and, you know, just things that you think will fill the film out and give it a sense of place and a time. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to say I would like to see more in the film. And then finally, obviously, the big elephant in the room that a lot of people struggle with and you struggle with is dance floor, dark light situations. I know you don't have lights, and that you're new. I would say you're good enough. Don't buy anything else until you buy some good lights and some good stands. That is my advice to you. Get some good lights, some good stands. Like, I cannot tell you how many films I've seen where people are flying drones and don't have good lights. And I want to tell people, like, don't buy a freaking drone. Buy good lights. elevate your films so much. All the work you'll get from having good-looking good-looking receptions and cool-looking dance footage, you can buy a drone. They're not that expensive anymore. So I would say get good lights, and then I want to see a film you make with good lights. Really, really, really. I even like the song you picked. Like, you know, I just think it would have been nice maybe if you had a little more dynamics, maybe another song. And I don't remember. Was there like a bunch of fun dance floor? You didn't know. It didn't seem to have. I don't really know. Maybe these people. I can't imagine these people didn't go crazy, but maybe they didn't have it. The other thing, which is more sophisticated, but I felt like the film kind of going all the way through the ceremony. It was like pretty far into the film, like a minute in. And then you go, a minute and a half. This to me is the biggest storytelling mistake you made, which is like you have this false start beginning. It's one thing if it's like 30 seconds and it's like really a power beginning and you have all kinds of like, you go all the way through the day, but you kind of just went up till they got married and then backed it up. And it was really, really long. Like I thought the film started and then they're getting ready suddenly. To me, it felt off. It felt a little off. Really good work though. Loved it. Again, guys, if you want to submit films, unfortunately we cannot get to them tonight because it's our process is to capture the footage on hard drives and it takes time to do it. If you're enjoying this, go ahead and hit the like button. It means a lot to us. Share our Wedding Film School stuff with people. Let them know that you're having a good time with this channel. We'll be back again with the podcast pretty soon. We're just retooling some stuff. So we also have a weekly podcast that currently is on a little hiatus. But we'll be back again. And yeah, excited. So we got another film right now, which is Jimmy Nystrom. And he says this: "Hi, I'm a photographer, filmmaker from Sweden. This was my second." I mean, I love all the new stuff, guys. I love it. Second wedding film. I was there all day and evening. So I was with the bride and groom for 13 hours. Okay. Gear I use, Sony A7 III, Sigma 2470, Sony 24, Weeble S, DJI Mavic Air S2, Amaron. I had to take out dancing when everyone was dancing because the place they were did not allow any pictures or movies to come out on social media. What? Okay. Because of Corona, no. I gotcha. That sucks. I have a microphone for my camera, so I do not drive to record sound, but I will hopefully be able to buy something in the future. I filmed S-Log 2 and want to test see if I could get it. Planned to use Luts, but it did not work out, so I chose that right as much as I could myself. Okay, so you didn't use a LUT. No. Okay. Hey, your English is great, by the way. Don't worry about your English. I get what you're saying. He tried to use a LUT. He didn't feel comfortable, so he did the correction himself. So here's the film. I love watching this stuff because I want to help people who are new. But also, it's cool to watch all this stuff. So, by the way, guys, if you're going to Vision Quest, is anyone here going to Vision Quest? Just say yes if you are. If you're going to Vision Quest, say yes. If not, I think a ticket just opened up, so you should go. And I'm speaking, so come down. And it'll be fun. Here we go. Here's the film. Whoa. I was like, that's a really fast moving gimbal shot. Okay. I'm going to interrupt this film a lot because I want to help you. So, right here, this is a thing this is not inexperienced shooting because everyone does this crap. It's inexperienced editing. So when you're right here, when you have these in-between movements and you're kind of non-committal, don't include it in the edit. like start the edit after you've kind of picked your composition. But I see it a lot. People who are inexperienced filmmakers, they do like, and you'll see like, you'll kind of see their brain thinking and they're not really committed and they miss it in the edit. So make sure you don't do that stuff. Cut it out. Just include the part of the shot that you like and be very careful to notice that, especially when you're going over in your like final cut. So why will this thing not play? I like a lot of the composition though. It's very overexposed though. Photographers overexpose everything and then fix it in post. Not all of them, some of them. It's a rude awakening when you go to video and you actually have to expose everything pretty well in camera. That's blown out too. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a thing that I really don't like, which is wide angle, close up, like the fisheye effect, shooting below someone like that. Like, my opinion is you got to get eye level with that person or get more compressed and back up. But when you get like low, kind of get that fisheye effect, it's just, this entire sequence is unsettling and it doesn't put him in his best light. It makes him look like a villain. You know, you don't want him to look like, you want it to be flattering. If this was a little higher or further back or whatever, but like getting that close with 24 mil, which is I think what you're doing, I don't think is a flattering look for anyone.
By your side, or maybe I just can't seem to sing to save my life. When I'm with you, there's no reason for.
I can tell though when photographers like, I mean, I think the movement needs to be a little better, but the pose is very nice and the way you got them in good light. I mean, there's a lot to like about this shot.
Reason for why I'm intoxicated by your side. Nothing in the world's gonna beat this high. I've been searching for all of my life. When I'm with you, it's funny to think.
What a cool church. Let's just all go look at this. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the other thing that one of the things wedding filmmakers will do is like you really got to fix that log, because when you have footage like this that's saturating properly and then you put it next to that log footage which is not properly like the saturation is off, it makes it stick out in a way that's very unflattering. This is an awesome shot. You need to either let it go longer or like start it later, because the fact that the building's the thing that's the most interesting, and it's like you're kind of like barely seeing it and it never really gets to the center, and then you cut away way too quick or something.
It's funny to think we should know. Oh, and it's love when we've lost control.
That groom is stiff, man. That dude, you gotta, I would not let that guy look at the camera. I would be like, look at her, love on her. Like when you can tell someone's uncomfortable like that, or they just don't know what to do on camera, get that person to focus on the thing that they are comfortable with, which is their wife. I would say focus on her. Oh, tell her that, you know, say something dirty, you know, just like getting people to not go like at your camera. Like, I think that's important, and that's our job. So it's like they don't look uncomfortable there. That dude is not uncomfortable with her, and it's like letting them be in those moments. Put him in those moments. This looks great, by the way. Also great. but a little too much. A little too much of the car. Like, I don't need 2 shots of the car. Like, I get it. Yeah, they pulled up. Like, just, and I also really don't need 2 shots of this. Like, I'm with you, by the way. This song is not doing anything for me, Benjamin. That's a fun idea. What a fun cake. Okay. Okay. Get it. Yeah. That's funny. Oh, so cool. I love it. I'm so into that. You know, like... Oh, is this more? That's weird. I don't understand this transition. Things that have disappeared, you know just where to look. You know just where to look. And you have a heart of gold. Okay. That's truly one of the strangest endings of a wedding film I've ever seen. Sorry guys. So listen, the reason we can't do last minute submissions is because our process is we take all your, I'm just going to show you guys. We take all your films and we put them on this thing, which you can't really see. And we have to capture them in real time. And then that way we can rewind around. So we don't watch them on YouTube. We don't watch them live. We just don't do it. So sorry guys, but I would say I'm going to send you guys the link over, which thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. I know, like I said, we haven't been as regular with the content as we want to be. I'm actually doing, but we're working. We got a bunch of stuff actually in the hopper. We didn't forget about you guys. I also want to remind you guys, Wedding Film Speakeasy is coming back. What's up, Collaborative Kiwi? Head over here, submit a film. We will not be doing film critiques next week. I just want to give you guys a heads up because we're going to be at Vision Quest traveling, so we just won't be able to do it. But anyway, let's talk about this film. So first and foremost, there's a lot to like, and I want to give a lot of props because A, it takes guts to submit this. And there's some things that are obvious showing the inexperience, but I honestly think like these are changes that can easily be made, and so you're not far off. The first thing that I like about the film is, like I said, I can tell that you are comfortable posing people and you know what looks good. And I think that's going to go a long way. Like, these are more, maybe you're working with a photographer who's helping you out, whatever, but there's a lot of posing. There's a lot of things. I do think some of the posing wasn't bringing out the best in the couple. And that's the only thing I'll tell you. Like, I think there's a lot of you got a lot of moves, but when you're doing video, if it doesn't look natural, it comes out like so easily. So the name of the game with video is getting people, is basically getting people to actually interact in a natural way or a cool looking way or a sexy way or whatever you are trying to communicate about them, but getting them to interact. And some of the posy pose stuff maybe doesn't look the best. I could also tell the editing skills aren't quite there because there's some jumpy things and some things that were in between where you kind of maybe missed some T shifts. And I will say this, the color grading is tricky. I would highly recommend checking out Gamut, Kaylin from White and Reveries company, and checking out their Luts, and they have what's called conversion Luts, and there are other people who make them too. Buttery Luts are some of them as well. I've used those as well. And basically, if you're not the best editor, but maybe you feel like you want to kind of dip your toe into Luts, head over, check out the conversion Luts. I'll even post that exact link. And this is a good place to start about converting your footage to what's known as Rec 709, which is the basic standard across the internet, which is a better place to start. They have an S-Log conversion, which will give you that saturation and that contrast. Instead of, and what will be great is if you use DJI and you shoot in D-Log and then you shoot Sony, you shoot in S-Log 3 or S-Log 2, they will look much closer together when you put them together in post if you use like a conversion LUT that's trying to get them to a similar place. And so that's a great thing that you might want to look at. A couple other things that I noticed. This footage looks very different than all this other footage. And I'm wondering what it is, because this looks pretty nice to me. Like, pretty nice to me. And I like how this looks, and whatever this is, you should do this more. And the final thing I'm going to say is that ending. So here's my guess. My guess is that couple has that child together, and they wanted to include this child in the film somehow. But like, it was so weird the way it just jumped songs, and like, it was not what it felt like so off. And I would have tried to just include it in the film somewhere. Like I'm going to count. Let's look how long this shot is. Hold on.
Things that have disappeared, you know just where to look. You know just where to look.
I mean, it's technically a cut, but
You have a heart of gold.
turn it on. So that was like 20-second shot. It was like, it's just way too long on something like that. And I'm assuming you wanted to include the kids. That's fine. I love the way you work with these balloons. I'm sorry I'm all over the place. There's a lot to like and a lot I didn't like. So it's obvious to me that you're inexperienced. But it's also obvious to me that you're talented. So I want to encourage you, keep working on it. I would say getting more motion in your film will help a lot. The lighting even looked good when the dance floor. It looked good. I even liked the way you covered it. The motion on the dance floor was also good. So I would say color correction, you got to do a little work on that. And then I think story structure and like pacing and all that stuff. I would say if you don't know if it's a really good song and you're not sure about the pacing, maybe try to get into some like mentorship relationships where you can have people kind of walk you through how to get some more energy in your films. Maybe some of it could have been fixed by some more dynamic posing or a little more liveliness in the families. There's things about films, they just are. But I think some of it too was just the way you edited, and it was kind of plodding, and the way the song didn't have much to it, all that stuff. So I think it's a really good film. And I think you just got to keep working. You just got to keep working on it, putting people in a. There's a lot there. The color thing is a major issue. You did that. I think you'll do that better just naturally. The other issue I see with the film, the most important issue that I see with the film, is that I didn't feel like the film really did a good job making the couple look good. And I think when you look at like a wedding film, like that is the most important thing about a wedding film is, can you make someone look really, really good? Do people feel like cool when they like that dude is who that dude is, but like that shot right there, look at that dude looking right through your camera. Like trying to not like show things that like, but then that looks great. Every time that dude looks at his wife, you could tell he lights up. And whenever he looks at that camera, you can tell he locks down. And I would just say trying to figure out a way to minimize that, I think would really, really help your filmmaking. And just that takes experience, and that's tough. So first and foremost, I think you did a really good job. There's some easy things you got to work on. You got to get some saturation and contrast in your films. And you got to really work on kind of getting a little more emotion and movement and getting people to interact more. But I think you're onto something. And you know, the next thing I'd say is try to work on your song selection and your pacing and the edits. Really good film. But anyway, thank you so much for submitting. It's a really, really good film, and I want you to keep submitting, and hopefully we can keep being helpful to you. If you enjoyed Wedding Film School Live tonight, head over. And I don't believe there is not a live streaming option. I don't believe, only for people who paid for tickets but are not attending. There is some live streaming. We're also going to be doing me, Matt Johnson, a bunch of us are going to be doing some cool film critiques down there. It's actually going to be epic. Like, if you are not going to Vision Quest, you're going to be missing out. So I'll be enjoying it for you guys. If you guys enjoy this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being so faithful. If you don't know, our Instagram, the Wedding Film School Show, is the best place to get connected with us and to know news. We also have a email group if you haven't been getting our emails. These are all great ways to stay plugged in with Wedding Film School, and we will see you guys soon. Have an awesome week. 2 weeks, not next week, 2 weeks. We're going to be doing the live stream again. See you guys soon. Bye.